Hey guys, I'm Cherise, nutritionist and author of the One Pot Alkaline Diet Cookbook. And today I want to cook one of the recipes with you from the cookbook. I really want you to understand not only how easy the alkaline and plant-based diets can be, but also how easy every single recipe is in this book, all 100 of them, because they only use one pot. That's the beauty of this cookbook. We are making plant-based alkaline living so super easy. So today I want to cook with you the white bean and cauliflower curry soup. It's so delicious and really quite simple to pull together. So let's get started. We're gonna start with half an onion. All of these recipes serve 4 people, so they're pretty standard kind of family servings. So you can cut it in half if there's less of you in the house. You can freeze. All the recipes in the cookbook that can be frozen are labeled as such, so you know exactly which ones you can freeze, and that makes it nice and easy and really helpful. But you can always easily cut recipes in half as well. That's never a problem. If you have more people in your family, you get the luxury of doubling or tripling, and they're still really easy to make because every recipe is less than 10 ingredients or less, takes around 10 minutes to prep. So it comes together really, really quickly, which is always nice and helpful. And they're just really simple, right? Simple meals that can be easily doubled or tripled, which is handy if you have a family. So there's half a white onion that we put in there. Now I'm gonna do 4 garlic cloves. I've already peeled them and I'm just gonna mince them up. The thing with garlic is that you either love it or you hate it. It either works well with you or it doesn't. I'm a huge fan of garlic, so I love more, but if you like less, that's fine. I also like it super chunky, so I don't really mince it as much as the majority of people would do, but you can kind of make that work however you prefer. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know I'm pretty loosey-goosey on things because I just enjoy being in the kitchen. So I don't feel any stress or any pressure to make it a certain way. The one thing to remember about this recipe when you're spending your time chopping things up, especially if you don't like being in the kitchen, is that we will puree this. Okay, so now we're gonna add in about 2 tablespoons roughly of ginger. You can mince it up as much as you want, but like I said, we're gonna be pureeing this, so you don't have to worry too much if you're like not wanting to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. That's totally cool too. I do a pretty rough go at it as well because I'm a huge fan of ginger, so even if I'm not pureeing, I'm happy to have it nice and roughly chopped up in things so I actually feel like I can taste it. That's about 2 tablespoons of minced ginger that I put in there. It was also already peeled. Then the recipe calls for half a cauliflower, but my cauliflower is actually kind of small today. So I'm gonna add in a little more than that. I'll do a whole one actually, to be honest. And again, you don't have to chop this up very much. It's pretty simple. And we're just gonna roughly chop that up and put it in as well. Just like such, or like so, some people would say. I don't know, I don't have this chalking down while I do the cauliflower as well. I got some work to do on that. But the big thing to know is that you can eat really healthy and plant-based, and it doesn't have to take you very long in the kitchen. I mean, most of the chopping is gonna be done as soon as this cauliflower's in. So that's half a cauliflower right there. But like I said, I'm gonna go add a little more in. Nice and simple. So there you go. We've got, in a large pot, we've got the onion, the garlic, the ginger, as well as the cauliflower in there. Now it gets even more simple. We are simply in this pot gonna add in 2 cups of vegetable stock. In my recipe book, there is a very simple recipe for a very nutrient-dense vegetable stock that you can use. But if you prefer store-bought to save time, that's fine too. Then I've got half a can of navy beans. They're already rinsed. Half a can of coconut milk. And we're gonna add in a few seasonings here. So I'm gonna do half a tablespoon of curry powder. Remember, this is a curry soup, so you need to make sure we've got lots of that in there. I'm gonna add in some chili powder, about half a teaspoon of chili powder. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander. And then we've got all our seasonings in. I do like to add in some salt as well. just a pinch or two, whatever you're comfortable with. Salt really helps to bring out the flavor. You just want to make sure you've got a good quality one. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on the stove. We're gonna let it boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna put the lid on, turn it down to a simmer and let it cook for 25 minutes. And then I'll show you what we do next. All right, we have our soup all cooked up. So that was around 25 minutes of simmering on the stove. And now our cauliflower is nice and softened. It's looking good. And we're gonna blend it up. We wanna puree it into a nice soup texture. Now there are two ways that you can do this, and the book gives you both options. You can either stick it in a blender and blend it up if you would prefer to do it that way, but if you have an immersion blender, so that's one of these, I would highly recommend using them because it just prevents you from having to transfer to another pot, keeps it all in the one pot, nice and simple and easy to do. So we're gonna blend it up with the immersion blender and then we are going to enjoy. All right, once I'm sure it's blended up, look at that. Can you see that? So good. I like to give it a little taste because sometimes in a recipe, when it calls for salt, it's just super individual on how much you need and what you need to bring out those flavors. So let's give it a little taste. Oh my goodness. Seriously? This is so good. I'm gonna add just a touch more salt. Oh my goodness, that curry flavor in there is so good. And what I love so much about this recipe being alkaline and plant-based is it's not low in protein because we use those navy beans in there, which add that protein. It's gonna fill you up and it pairs really good with any of the salads from the book. So if you haven't checked out the book, make sure you do. The One Pot Alkaline Diet Cookbook is available right now, so go pre-order it today. Holy cow, that's good. Okay. Is double dipping wrong? Seriously. Okay. It's time. Clean up. What clean up? Okay. Let's go. Let's go.